welcome back to Uncourt Crime. It's Kelly.
And Amelia. And back by popular demand, our only two guests we've ever had, we decided to put them together. So today we have...
My name is Jeff.
Today we have back Jordan and Amrit.
What up?
How you doing?
So what's new with everyone? Anything exciting going on?
Anything you guys want to talk about? I don't really have much going on. Amrit?
Me neither.
I saved 15% by switching to Geico.
Oh my God, I hate you. Okay, so we're going to do some rapid fire questions again because that's just what's fun to us. So question number 1, what's the best thing that happened to you this month?
This month?
Well, just like in the past month.
Hopefully I got the stimulus check coming in the mail.
The best thing that's happened to me in the last month is probably the most dad thing that it ever could happen.
A new lawnmower.
I was able to finish my landscaping and water my plants.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Might I add?
Yeah, it was a lot of work. We got a lot of back pain from it, but it did turn out nice.
Yeah, it looks like you guys put a lot of work into it. And it doesn't even look like the same yard.
Mm-mm.
It looks like professionally done. So hats off to you guys for that.
Thanks.
It looks beautiful.
I'm blushing.
Aww. But my sister's birthday was the other day. So
What'd you guys do?
just hung out at the house, played some video games since COVID-19 has shut down everything. And she's not 21. So I couldn't take her to the bar.
She's not 21 yet?
No.
How,
Yeah.
how old was she? How old did she turn?
She just turned 18 on the 5th.
So
Mm.
we're very off. Not even remotely close, but
Amelia, you? Best thing that's happened to you?
I said up north.
Oh, yes.
And it is my birthday month, so...
Oh,
The
yes.
31st.
29.
I should have known that because mine's on the 29th.
Oh, yeah.
I-
May.
I was going to say, what?
May 29.
Yeah, so the next month will be exciting because we have my tubing trip for my birthday. So,
Oh,
yeah. Other than that, in August, I don't really have anything going on. It'll just be a good time to chill,
Yeah.
you know?
Agreed.
What is one thing you still have from your childhood? I'll answer first. It's my baby blanket.
My doll and my baby blanket.
I got a pillow.
Oh, yes, your pillow.
Yes.
I still have my Nintendo 64.
Wow.
Oh, old
Wasn't
school.
expecting that.
I mean, that's the only thing I could think of.
That makes sense with Amrit, though.
Yeah, that does.
Do you sleep with it?
Sometimes I sleep with a controller, but it gets tangled up around my neck. And then
Oh my
They weren't
gosh.
wireless.
Your mom said it wasn't safe to sleep with?
No, not no more.
Did she have to take it from you and hide it for a little bit so you wouldn't sleep with it? Because my mom did that with my baby blanket.
Yeah, she said that my neighbor stole it, but I found it a couple of years later in the basement. I'm like, Mom, what is this?
When you found it, you were probably like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
What is your favorite holiday?
St. Patrick's Day all the way.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That or Thanksgiving. Because food.
'cause food.
Yeah, it'd probably have to be Thanksgiving.
I mean, I do love Christmas. I don't know if I love the holiday Christmas. I just love Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
But like Christmas Day. Christmas Day is a lot.
Yeah.
So like,
Too busy with house
yeah.
to house to house. Yeah.
So I don't know.
I changed mine to Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh,
Ooh.
touche.
That's not
Daytona.
a holiday.
Well, it needs to be.
Yeah, it does. No, the Monday after
Yes.
needs to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it would have to be Memorial Day because, like, that's officially when summer starts, not calendar, like, solstice-wise. But, like, that's the kickoff of the summer.
Yeah.
It's my birthday weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to get lit.
Yeah, I do like 4th of July for that reason too, because it's just like summer.
But 4th of July is like can be too hot.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be 90.
yeah, it is.
It was 90.
It was 90.
But Memorial Day weekend's too cold to get in the water.
Oh, but I ain't going anywhere that there's water, so I'm fine.
But Jordan still got in the water.
Yeah, I saw a video.
I do every year.
So what does it matter to you?
Well, it doesn't matter to me, but I'm just saying any normal like human being wouldn't do it.
That's true.
What's a television show you guys have binged on recently?
New Girl, always. I'm also binging 13 Reasons right now, though.
The only show that I've actually binged lately is Tanked. I watch it every night.
Is that the fish tank one?
Yes, I watch it every night.
I watch it every night.
It is.
Is there a new episode every night?
It's on.
No, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we have been watching that when we go to bed. It is.
Is it like a helps you fall asleep type of TV show, or what is Tanked about?
I've just always loved tanks, and like the tanks that they make are fucking badass.
They're fish tanks.
Yeah, they're fish tanks like
Not
ocean.
army
Yeah,
tanks.
like salt water, fresh water. They make a shitload of them. I just watched one that had alligators and sharks in it.
Oh,
They
wow.
divided the tank in half,
So that's huge.
Yeah.
Tank.
and so
They're like real extravagant.
when I'm really, really relaxed in bed, is when I watch Tanked. So
Emmerich?
I recently watched Dave on Hulu, but my favorite TV show is called Psych, and I watch it any time of the day, any time of the year. I watch it all the time.
is Dave the little Dicky?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty funny. This like, have you seen This Is Atlanta
Mm-mm.
with Childish Gambino? He directs that, and it's just like another sitcom, just every day of Childish Gambino or Dave, Little Dicky.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mine's not that interesting. You're not gonna care, but it's Real Housewives of New York.
I
Who's
used
on
to watch
it?
this.
Who's on there?
Like Bethany Frankel. Do
Oh,
you-
I know that she wrote a book.
Skinny girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's not on this season because she just had a kid. But it's just these people, and it's just like sometimes I need my reality TV splurge, and then I'll go back to like CSI or something like that.
I feel like it's like you shutting down your brain. Like you just watch it just to like.
Yes. You need
for-
something
watch,
that you
yeah.
don't have to care
Yes,
about.
exactly.
Yeah, that's what it is, and like I don't have to really pay that close attention. Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah. So I don't have many more questions. This is a long story, so
So on that note, let's get to the wine. Jordan, what are we drinking tonight?
So tonight we have a Leelanau Cellars Cherry Dessert Wine. So let me tell you a little bit about this here. It's grown and bottled in the pinky of the mitten. This wine gives you the freedom to celebrate our pleasant peninsula wherever you may roam. So that's basically it.
I thought there was way more.
but you read that so beautifully.
Yes, you did. Good job, Jordan.
They didn't like my accent.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh. That's strong.
Yeah, I didn't think it was strong.
I took a big gulp then, and I wasn't expecting that.
It's sweet. Oh,
See, it is strong.
How big of a drink are you guys taking?
That's it, motherfucker.
Try it. Just try a sip. You have to see what we're talking about now.
I don't think it's that bad. Yeah, it's not that bad, or yeah, it is.
Forgot to mention that the wine is a level 5 sweet on a level or a scale of 5.
This is like the sweetest of the sweet.
19% alcohol.
Oh my god, in that little bottle. It
It's
is good.
very it's very sweet. It's very syrupy.
eating a grape.
Well, it's a dessert wine, so you're
Yes.
supposed to be eating it with something sweet.
Cherry, yeah.
It's
great.
That's how much I know about wine.
it's cherry.
Oh, it's cherry flavored.
It's good. It's very like powerfully tasting, and it's very syrupy. I
It's
feel
definitely one you're supposed to like sip, like legit sip.
like little sips.
like fancy wine.
That's a lot.
Now that we've uncorked the wine, let's uncork some crime.
Let's do it.
Whoop, whoop.
Okay. Are y'all ready? Because this is a long story.
We know.
Okay.
We're ready.
Okay.
What are we talking about today?
Today we're talking about Robert Allen Durst.
Sounds familiar.
Okay, Robert was born on April 12th, 1943, and was the oldest of 4 children. His siblings' names were Douglas, Tommy, and Wendy. Robert's grandpa, Joseph Durst, immigrated to New York City from Austria-Hungary in 1902 and became a very successful real estate manager and developer. He later founded the Durst Organization in 1927, where his son Seymour, which is Robert's father, would become the head of the family business in 1947 after Joseph passed away. The family grew up in Scarsdale, New York, and they were a Jewish family. When Robert was 7, his mother, Bernice, passed away after falling from their family home.
Oh, geez.
Robert later claimed that moments before her death, his father walked him to a window from which he could see her standing on the roof, but his brother Douglas later denied that Robert had witnessed the death. So I'm not really sure how she died. I couldn't find much information if...
So essentially, he brought his son to watch his wife and his kid's mom die?
No, I don't think that's happened. I think he just, like, at one point was by this window with his dad and saw his mom on the roof.
Oh, okay.
Just happened to be, like, the same day. But regardless, I don't know if their mom committed suicide or what. Like, I couldn't really find anything. So Robert and Douglas didn't really get along, and they ended up going to counseling for sibling rivalry. And this counselor reported that a 10-year-old Robert had personality decomposition and possibly even schizophrenia.
This is Robert.
Can you tell us a little bit more about what those two mean?
Schizophrenia is...
Isn't it like essentially like a multiple disorder? Multiple
It's like
personality disorder?
schizophrenia is like when you hear voices and when you... stuff like that.
You get freaked out in your fucking mind about, it's like post-traumatic type shit.
It's like paranoia, voices in your head. The personality decomposition, I don't know, maybe it's just like his...
Inability to maintain defense mechanisms in response to stress, resulting in personality disturbance or psychological imbalance. So it just kind of sounds like...
What's that one movie?
Split?
Yes.
Split. Yes, that's what I imagine.
Yeah, so he just...
Okay, wait. I literally just looked up personality decomposition, and the third one is Robert Durst.
Oh, really?
Literally, how has personality decomposition and schizophrenia affected Robert Durst's life?
Yeah, it comes back up later, so that's what I was going to say, is that, like, it makes sense, and pretty much he was not right in the head. And it makes sense if I don't know if he witnessed his mother's death, but it would make sense if that's why.
The trauma, yeah.
Yeah. So Robert's been described as a loner, but he was very smart. He moved to Pennsylvania, where he would go on to earn a bachelor's degree in economics in 1965. He was also like a member of the varsity lacrosse team there, and he was a business manager of the brown and white student paper there.
So he did well there.
Mm-hmm. He then moved to California and enrolled in a doctoral program at UCLA later the same year after he graduated, and that is where he would meet Susan Berman, who comes up later. So, but after he enrolled at UCLA, he dropped out of school and returned back home to New York in 1969. He went on to become a real estate developer in his family's organization, just like his grandpa and his dad and his brother. But his brother Douglas was appointed to run the family business in 1992, and because of the past sibling issues they have, this caused an even bigger rift between not just him and his brother, but between Robert and the rest of his family.
Oh gosh, they already had civil rivalry.
You're right, and his family, like the rest of the family. It wasn't just his brother.
Oh.
So the real estate company, their estate holdings are worth more than $4 billion.
Damn.
From about 1994 to 2006, Robert waged a legal campaign to gain greater control of the family trust and fortune, and during this time, he received $2 million a year from the trust.
Holy shit.
In 2006, the case was settled with Robert giving up any interest in his family's properties in trust exchange for a one-time payment of about $65 million. So basically, he had a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
Pocket change.
Understatement.
Yeah.
Shit ton of money.
Okay, so we're going to back up a minute and get into the case. Okay, so we're going to back up a minute. Robert met Kathleen McCormack in the fall of 1971. She was a dental hygienist and would go on to become a student in her final year at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine in the Bronx to become a pediatrician. After 2 dates, Robert asked Kathleen to move into his home in Vermont, where he had opened a health food store.
Jumping the
2
gun.
days.
2 dates.
Not 2 months. 2 dates.
Sex must have been good on the first date.
Oh my gosh. Well, she said yes, and she moved there in January of
The sex was
1972.
good for both of them.
While they were living in Vermont, Robert's father was pressuring him to move back to New York to work in the family business. So they moved back to New York and got married on April 12th, 1973, which is his birthday.
Yeah, I was gonna say, isn't that his birthday?
Yeah, his 30th birthday.
He got married on his
yeah,
birthday.
on the dirty 30. That's
With someone he
that's
just
actually, I mean,
I guess
that's old for back then.
to get married,
1972,
yeah.
yeah, 30.
people already had like multiple kids by then.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay, so Kathleen had been treated at a Bronx hospital for bruises on her face in early January of 1982. She told a friend that Robert had beat her, but that she didn't want to press any charges. So Kathleen then asked Robert for a $250,000 divorce settlement, and Robert did not like that, so he canceled her credit cards, removed her name from a joint bank account, and refused to pay her medical school tuition.
Escalated
Oh,
so
shit.
quickly.
At this point, Robert was actually dating a woman named Prudence Farrow, who was also married, and they have been together for 3 years and was living in a separate apartment.
For the whole 3 years?
Like, I think he was going on and off. Like, she probably stayed in this apartment. Like, they had this apartment together or whatever. Because she was married, too, so I don't really know.
Well, Robert was still married. They haven't filed divorce yet, right?
Right. So, in January of 1982, Prudence called Kathleen and asked that she give Robert up because she wanted him all to herself. But they ended up breaking up not long after this.
My God, he cannot keep a girl. He jumps the gun too fast.
So 3 weeks later, after she asked for the divorce and all that, on the evening of January 31st, 1982, Kathleen showed up unexpectedly to a dinner party her friend Gilbert Najami was having in Newtown, Connecticut. Gilbert said that Kathleen was upset and was wearing sweatpants, which he found odd because she would usually dress up in nice clothes all the time. She received a phone call from her husband, Robert, and left to go to her home in South Salem, New York. After she left Gilbert's, she was supposed to meet back up with him later at a pub called the Lionsgate in Manhattan, but she never showed up. This was the last time that Kathleen was seen by someone other than Robert.
Oh, no.
Hang on.
Gilbert was obviously concerned and repeatedly called the police over the next few days. Days later, Robert finally filed a missing person report and offered a $100,000 reward for his wife's return, but then later reduced it to $15,000.
It's like, don't want her back that bad.
Right.
15,000?
From 100?
Mm-hmm.
You dropped it 85%.
Yeah. He didn't care that much, clearly.
I'm tired of her anyway. I'm tired of looking for her. I'm tired of her spending my money.
He cut her off. She wasn't spending any of his.
Yeah. A doorman and their apartment building superintendent claimed to have seen Kathleen there on February 1st, which was one day after she was last seen. But they said they only saw her from behind and was from a few blocks away, so he couldn't really be 100% sure that it was her.
Right, it could have been anybody.
Right. A private investigator later hired by Robert's own criminal lawyer reported that the doorman said he had not seen Kathleen at all and may not have even been working that night. She was disappeared.
That's strange. Why would he change his story up that much?
I don't know.
That's where that $85,000 went. To keep the doorman quiet.
Right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. 3 weeks after Robert reported Kathleen missing, the superintendent at the apartment building found her possessions in the trash compactor. Kathleen's friend and sister found out that Robert reported her missing, and so they broke into her cottage and found it ransacked with mail left unopened and her belongings in the trash. Robert told police that he did have a fight with his wife, but put her on a train at 9:15 p.m. to Manhattan and had a drink with his neighbor and spoke to Kathleen at their Manhattan apartment on the phone later that night. This was the last time he had seen or heard from her. Robert would later state that he told police this, hoping that he would just make everything go away.
How's that going to make everything go away?
She's still missing.
Yeah, that doesn't change the fact that you were the last person to see her and she's gone.
I think he was just hoping that that alibi was good enough for police, and so...
He's like, listen, I dropped that bitch off in
Yeah.
Manhattan, all right? I don't know where the fuck she is.
It's
It's
in
like
it.
the loosest alibi ever.
So you got to think about it. It's also like 40 years ago, trying to get from state to state and trying to connect with police. It's not as easy as it is today that you just send them over an email.
Right. He also claimed that on February 4th, the supervisor at her school called him and said that she had called in sick on February 1st and was absent the entire week. It is not known whether Kathleen made that call or someone else did. After he received this call from her supervisor, that is when he reported her missing. The police found his stories to be full of contradictions, but couldn't prove anything, and ultimately the case was closed.
Oh, no.
8 years after Kathleen disappeared, Robert divorced her under the claims of spousal abandonment. The case was quietly reopened in 1999 and searched Robert's South Salem residence for the first time. The investigation officially became public in November of 2000.
How many years passed when it was closed and when they reopened it?
Well, she went missing in 1982, and the case was quietly reopened in 1999.
Quietly.
Why did they-
reopened.
Why did they wait so long to search that house?
I don't know. Yeah, they never searched his house in the to begin with. I don't know.
They're going through a divorce. It's the husband. That's like number one, husband's main suspect always. Number two, you're going through a divorce and she goes missing. You should have been searching his shit then.
Right, but I mean, he sent her on like a train ticket or something like that, and it could have
So he
just been.
says.
Well, but I mean, if he did have a ticket or like you could see the purchase of it, then like what they're going through a divorce. You think he's keeping track of her?
But someone's missing. You still have to search. I mean, they searched their apartment.
Right.
And they searched her cottage she had. So, like, also you have to remember that this guy's got a lot of money.
It's weird. I mean, what are you going to find? I mean, you might find something, but I feel like you've
But
wasted so much evidence.
after so many years, he's got rid of it.
Right.
He wouldn't be keeping that shit around.
And he had so much time to dispose of anything he needed to.
Right. So, when it became public in 2000, Robert moved to Galveston, Texas. And he lived in a boarding house, basically going into hiding, and he even began posing as a woman to avoid the police.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, he just started to become a fugitive.
Talking about that
A
split-
female fugitive.
Yes.
Talking about that split personality disorder.
No shit.
Right.
You know what kind of reminds me of is Ed Gein.
I was going to say that, what was his name here that chopped the lady's head off?
I don't know.
In Jackson with the hammer?
I don't remember.
Lou.
I don't know that story.
This was like within the last 10 years.
Really?
He lived at those jank ass apartments by J High.
And he literally just.
Oh, yes, I do
He
remember
cut
that.
her head off.
The
with
Section
with a
10
hammer,
Section 8
took
apartment?
a bath with the head. He used to walk around town dressed as a woman.
Is that what happened to that person?
Wow.
I remember, like, when I went to Jackson High, so, like, I would always see this person walking up and down by Shell gas station.
Dark hair. That was probably Carla. Remember Carla, the trans?
It was like
my
10,
gosh,
15
yes.
years ago.
Yeah.
So I don't
do
remember.
remember that.
I don't remember the color of this person's hair.
That wasn't this. Louis, something like that.
I never knew the name, but I do know what you're talking about. I do remember that.
He like took a bath with the head,
What the
and then
fuck?
he was found walking down the road with the hammer in his pocket.
Okay, wait, no, I have not heard this
Yes.
story.
And then he had like a homemade electrocution chair in his apartment, and he went to court and he had like makeup on, and he literally like he would not stand. There's a video of it where he's sitting, and it's when they're saying like the wherever the part he needs to stand, the guards had to pick him up, and he would just like dead fish just.
Can you
limp.
find this case and tell us? Because I don't know it.
Why?
Should we do it?
No. Why? I was gonna say, why haven't you done this?
Yeah,
case
this
yet?
would have been like
what
one of the
hell?
first cases I would have
I
done.
don't think there's that much backstory, but I'll look into it. I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, because I don't know this. I think I was too
Louis-
young at
it's
that
something-
point.
He has like a German last name or Polish or something like that.
Okay, so look it up and we'll get back on that. Okay?
For a future episode.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Susan Berman, who he met at school. Remember when I said him?
The second one.
Yes, his ex-girlfriend.
No, he's not an ex-girlfriend. It was just he met her there.
Oh, well. All
They
right.
didn't date.
Okay.
They hooked up?
No.
Maybe.
Susan Bierman is a longtime friend of Robert's, just a friend, not a sexual friend, who
Does your notes say that?
No. who facilitated his public alibi after Kathleen's disappearance. Her father, David, was a gangster and in the late 1940s operated the Flamingo Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. On December 24, 2000, Susan was found murdered execution style in her home in Benedict Canyon, Los Angeles, California, after her neighbors called the police to report that her back door was open and her 3 dogs were loose.
Holy shit.
Oh my God.
What kind of dogs?
Fox Terriers.
You knew names.
Didn't find names, but I looked up Fox Terriers, and there's weird looking dogs.
I don't know what they are. Fox terrier.
Yeah, look them up. They're kind of ugly.
Ooh.
I knew you would think they're cute.
Yeah. I mean, they're almost like so ugly that they're cute.
Okay. A couple days later, the Beverly Hills Police Department got a handwritten note postmarked for December 23rd that had Susan's address and the word cadaver. That's it.
Creepy.
I know. Robert was known to be in Northern California days before Susan was killed and flew from San Francisco to New York the night before her body was found. Susan had recently received $5,000 from Robert in 2 payments that Robert admitted to the police and faxed them a copy of her 1982 deposition regarding Kathleen's disappearance, but he declined to be further questioned about her murder. Robert later said in a 2005 deposition that Susan called him shortly before her death to say that the LAPD wanted to talk to her about Kathleen's disappearance, but there was never any proof that the LAPD made such a call or scheduled an interview with her. So he probably just made that up. They couldn't prove that Robert committed Susan's murder, so again, the case was closed.
For the second time.
Yeah.
Another case. This is Susan. This isn't Kathleen.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so just another case was closed that he's involved with. Yeah.
Reopen them both.
Right.
How long in between them reopening up her case and then finding out Susan was dead?
They reopened her case, Kathleen's case, in 1999, and this happened in 2000.
Okay.
Oh, so within a year.
So he was hiding out in Texas in 2000? Yes.
In the
Yes,
boarding
he moved there in 2000, yes. So on December 11th, 2000, shortly after Susan's murder, Robert married Deborah Lee Cheriton. It said in one article that they shared an apartment but have never lived together as husband and wife.
Why is that his thing?
Mm-hmm. But Robert also told his sister that the marriage was of convenience and that he wanted her to receive his inheritance since he intended to kill himself. And
Why her?
I don't know. I don't
Did he
even
have
know
any
how
kids?
they met or anything. Nope, never, no kids.
Thank God.
So at this point, Robert is living as a fugitive in Texas and is posing as a woman. While Robert was hiding out, he began stalking his brother, Douglas. He would go to his brother's home in New York and sit in his driveway with a gun.
Do we know what his lady name was? Like,
Oh,
what was
no,
his
I
name
don't
as a
know.
woman?
No, I don't know his name.
Alias.
Roberta. And they.
It ends up coming out that he has a lot of aliases in a lot of different states, so I don't know the names.
He's almost like Ted Bundy, didn't he? Have a
Yeah,
bunch
that's what
of-
I was thinking
yeah.
about too. I was like,
Yeah.
So on October 9th, 2001, Robert was arrested after body parts belonging to his elderly neighbor, Morris Black, were found floating in the Galveston Bay, which is in the Gulf of Mexico along the coast of Texas, and he was released on a $300,000 bail the next day.
Why was he arrested?
I don't know how they tied it to him.
I mean, I get it's your neighbor, but like, wouldn't you check like family and friends first, not your neighbor?
I don't know how they tied it to him, but somehow they found out
I mean,
he was
probably his
involved.
past.
Yeah.
Like they probably were searching the neighborhood and they're like, oh, this guy's been in all these cases where the women have died or gone missing. Let's check him out.
Yeah, now that you say it, I don't know what made them arrest him. I don't know. It never told me. So I don't know.
There
Sorry.
might have been a dispute at one point that another neighbor heard between the two.
I don't know. So Robert missed a court hearing and a warrant for his arrest was issued. On November 30th, he was caught inside a Wegmans supermarket in Pennsylvania where he went to college after trying to shoplift Band-Aids, a newspaper, and a chicken salad sandwich with roasted red peppers on a pumpernickel baguette, even though he had $500 cash in his pocket.
that's that multiple.
Wait, I think I've
personality
heard
shit.
this.
But I do know. I was just thinking about it, and you said 300,000 for bail. Like they clearly had him on some shit. Then, if he's willing to pay 300, like, don't you have to post bail? Isn't it like 10% of your actual, like,
Your whole court file?
yeah, like your whole thing?
So
And it was 300,000.
Yeah, because you know when someone gets bailed out of jail, it's usually 10%. Like the bonds people will, like, they'll post your bail and it's like 10%. So like if yours is 10,000, you have to pay $1,000 to get out of jail. You have to pay 300,000 and he did it in the next day. So they
that
clearly
means
had him on
3
his
million.
shit. Yeah. They
Holy
clearly had
shit.
him on his shit. Like
Yeah.
he was clearly involved in it. But yeah.
Like there was enough evidence to
but
point
the
to him.
baguette though. I mean, shit.
Roasted
Pumpernickel.
red peppers.
pumpernickel.
Yeah, Band-Aids and a sandwich. And what else?
Newspaper.
Newspaper.
With $500 in his pocket that he could have paid for.
Yeah, but maybe it was his last 500 because he just spent
No,
$300,000.
because police searched his rental car and found $37,000 in cash, 2 guns, marijuana, Morris's driver's license, and direction to Gilbert's home in Connecticut, the friend's house that Kathleen went to that night she disappeared. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
That's a hit and run right there. So Morrison was the neighbor, right?
Yes.
Damn.
And
This
now he's
dude
going
is
to where Kathleen supposedly was supposed to go, and
No, she did go there. That's the house she went to where he was having a dinner party and she showed up unexpected. Yeah.
okay, I got you.
Oh my God, why would you risk the chance of getting caught stealing with all that shit in your car?
Right.
Why would you break any laws?
But like Jordan said, it sounds like multiple personality, like he's not right in the head. He's not fucking thinking.
Oh, I was thinking he got way too confident.
Oh no, I just don't think
He
he's
got away with
thinking.
all these other killings, murders, missing people.
Yeah.
Like he's
Yeah,
got
but all
confidence.
because he's had money. Like, he gets
But-
to bail himself out, and then now the one thing that he has, he doesn't fucking use, and it's gonna
Yeah,
end
what
up
an
screwing
idiot.
it.
But so the thing is, you don't know if he knows any of these things are actually going on. So one of his personalities could be like, say Roberta, just for her,
Right.
just for an instance, killed all these other females and the neighbor, and he does not have no knowledge of this. He might have not had any knowledge that he had $500 in his pocket, or the drugs, or the guns in the car.
But
Like,
I
as
don't
Robert, he might not know.
I don't think he's got multiple personalities. I just think because you'll find out later, but I don't think he has multiple personalities. I think he's just not right in the head. So I don't think like one of his personalities killed these people. Like I just think he's not right.
He doesn't see right from wrong.
Yes. So in 2003, Robert was tried for the murder of Morris Black. They tried to claim self-defense. Robert claims that him and Morris, who was a cranky, lonely old man, struggled for control of one of Robert's gun after Morris grabbed it from its hiding place and threatened him with it. During the struggle, the gun discharged, shooting Morris in the face.
So why wouldn't you call if it was self-defense?
The neighbor died by getting shot in the face?
Yes, but then he dismembered his body, threw it in garbage bags, and threw it in
Oh,
the
yeah.
bay.
Yeah, because it was an accident.
That's self-defense.
The gun did it.
The gun did it.
I didn't even bag the body up. It just happened.
Yeah, the gun did it all.
The gun did all of it. Bagged it up, dropped it in the river, all of it.
During one of the 2 mock trials that his lawyer conducted to prepare for the case, his defense team had a hard time communicating with him, so they hired a psychiatrist. And this psychiatrist spent over 70 hours examining Robert and diagnosed him with Asperger's syndrome. And this diagnosis was used to be argued at trial by his defense team, saying that because of his condition, it explains his behavior.
I mean, I get that.
Asperger's is like trouble communicating, right? Like you can't. You
It's
don't
like a socially awkward-
that's
but
what I thought, okay.
You also like don't pick up on social cues. Like if someone else is uncomfortable with you, you wouldn't pick up on it. Or
Right, you would just immediately ask him to marry you in 2 dates.
yes,
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But she said yes, so
yeah, so maybe she
ain't
had it.
that great either.
During cross-examination, Robert admitted to using a knife, 2 saws, and an axe to dismember Morris's body before bagging and dumping his remains in the bay. Morris's head has never been found, so prosecutors were unable to present sufficient forensic evidence to dispute Robert's account of the self-defense and that it shot him in the face.
Oh, because his head was never found, so they don't even know
Right.
if he was shot in the face.
Since there was a huge lack of forensic evidence, the jury acquitted Robert of murder on November 11, 2003.
He had his ID. He said he killed him.
He said he dismembered his body.
How did he get acquitted?
I don't know.
It was
That's not the
self-defense.
mock trial, right? That's just like that's real. Like
No, that was in the real trial. The mock trial was when they got the psychiatrist.
Jesus.
You cannot say self-defense when he dismembered the body
Right.
after. That's not self-defense.
Right.
What are you defending yourself from at that point? A
Right.
dead body?
So on December 21st, 2004, Robert pleaded guilty to 2 counts of bail jumping and 1 count of evidence tampering for dismembering Morris's body. As a part of a plea deal, he received a sentence of 5 years and was given credit for time served, requiring him to only serve 3 years in prison.
For dismembering a body
Yeah, you only get 5 years apparently.
that he shot.
And tampering evidence.
Robert was paroled on July 15th, 2005.
He had a good ass lawyer.
He had some good ass money. That's what it was.
Yeah. The rules of his release required him to stay near his home, and permission was required to travel. That December of 2005, Robert made an unauthorized trip to the boarding house where Morris had been killed and to a nearby shopping mall. At the mall, he ran into a former judge, I guess, who presided over his trial. And basically, she later says that you could see that, in Morris's case, that she could see that this person knew what they were doing and that it was not their first time. The body was cut perfectly like a surgeon who knew how to use this tool on this bone and a certain kind of tool on that muscle. It looked like not a first time job, and to her that was pretty scary.
You know what he went to school for? You said that he got a
Economics.
bachelor economics. Okay.
Then he went to go get his doctoral, but he dropped out. Because of this incident at the mall, where he violated his terms of his parole and he went back to jail. He was later released again from custody on March 1st, 2006. So some years passed, and in 2011, he purchased a $1.75 million townhouse in Harlem, and a friend said he was living there at least some of the time while under surveillance. He also owns 3 condominiums in a multi-story complex in Houston and received $200,000 settlement in 2006 from a Houston developer who refused to let him move into a unit newly purchased by his wife, which she had immediately resold to Robert for $10.
$10. That is crazy.
There's something sketchy going on there.
Yes, so sketch right there. Red flag.
I know, right? Robert remained active in real estate, where he reportedly sold 2 properties in 2014 for $21.5 million after purchasing them in 2011 for $8.65 million. In 2012 and 2013, family members of Robert got restraining orders against him because they feared for their life, basically. He was charged with trespassing in New York for walking in front of a townhouse owned by his brother Douglas and other family members. He went on to trial for it and was acquitted in December 2014, and a judge vacated the 13 orders of protection his family took out on him. In July of 2014, Robert was arrested again for turning himself into police following an incident at a Houston CVS where he exposed himself and urinated on a rack of candy and then left by foot walking down the street.
WTF. What is going on with Robert?
What? This is wild.
Apparently, this whole incident was caught on camera, but I couldn't find it.
CBS did not want to release that footage.
No.
I don't know if it was CVS or like somebody else was recording, but it was said that it was recorded. But all he got was a misdemeanor of criminal mischief and was fined $500.
Mischief.
Is he,
You
That's
know
what it says. How do you say it?
Mischief.
Oh.
Is he on the sex offender list now or no?
It
He
didn't
exposed
say.
himself. He has to be.
Yeah, it didn't say, but he's got to be.
You know what kind of candy he peed on?
Yeah.
I hope it wasn't the Kit Kats.
Mhm.
I don't understand how he keeps getting like away with all this shit. Like I know that's not like a huge
Yeah,
crime, but like
right. No, I know.
he has a prior record. Like what the fuck?
He has a fucking rap sheet, not a prior record.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's true.
In 2015, a 6-part documentary on HBO called The Jinx, The Life and Deaths of Robert was released. In this, Robert gives multiple interviews and unrestricted access to his personal records to the filmmakers. The documentary ended with him going into a bathroom where his microphone picked him up, saying to himself, "There it is. You're caught. You're right, of course, but you can't imagine. Arrest him. I don't know what's in the house. Oh, I want this. What a disaster. He was right. I was wrong. And the burping. I'm having difficulty with the question. What the hell did I do? Killed them all, of course."
What?
That's multiple personality
He's
right
like
there.
having a
Yeah,
conversation,
that's like
a
split.
legit conversation
Like that's
with
split.
himself.
Like right
Yes.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really creepy. I don't like that.
Imagine being in the bathroom with him, like, in one of the other stalls, like, the fuck is this dude?
In the burping though? Like that's what
Yeah,
he
but the
said?
burping. Who burped?
God.
That's creepy. I don't like that.
I know. So it's reported that a March 1999 letter from Robert to Susan, discovered by her stepson, was turned over to the filmmakers during their research, and it provided key new evidence leading to the filing of murder charges. They handed this over to the LA Police Department. A few days after a first-degree murder warrant for Susan's murder was signed by the LA judge, and on the same day as the final episode aired, which is March 14th, 2005, the FBI arrested Robert in New Orleans, where he had registered under the false name of Everett Ward. At the time of his arrest, FBI estimated Robert's net worth at about $100 million.
He ain't buying him or bailing himself out on that one.
Right. So Robert drove himself to New Orleans from Houston 4 days before being arrested, and he was staying in a hotel. After he was arrested, they discovered on hotel security cameras that he went to the hotel after making 2 calls to check his voicemail, was observed wandering aimlessly in the lobby and mumbling to himself, having driven to New Orleans and Houston 4 days before, which I already just repeated myself, so I'm sorry. A revolver loaded with 4 live rounds and 1 spent shell casing was found by police, along with 5 ounces of marijuana, Robert's birth certificate, passport, maps of Louisiana, Florida, and Cuba, and a flesh-toned latex mask, the fake Texas ID used to check into the hotel, and a new cell phone, and $42,631 in cash.
Holy shit, where is he getting all this weed from?
I don't know who's his dealer, but...
Yeah, because he's like all over the place.
The man on the curb, dude.
Right, like, this shit is crazy that he just walking around with pounds on him.
Yeah.
And back then it was not legal.
Yeah.
They also found a UPS tracking number, which led to $117,000 in cash and a pair of shoes that were sent to Robert by a friend in New York. Bank statements were found in one of Robert's condominiums in Houston, and it revealed that cash withdrawals of $315,000 were made in little more than a month. On March 5th, 2015, New York State Police investigator Joseph Baccara, who was long involved with Kathleen's disappearance and working with the FBI, brought 60 file boxes of Robert's personal papers and videotapes of Robert, Douglas, and Deborah's deposition, all related to Morris's case. I'll bring up Deborah in a little bit, so just remember that. He brought this from the home of Robert's friend, another Susan Giordano, in Campbell Hall, New York. So that was his wife at the time, Deborah Cheriton.
His third wife.
Yes. She sent all of those items to Susan Giordano for safekeeping 3 years before this.
When he was still married to the second wife? What's the time span between?
No, they weren't married. 2000. This is 2015.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
So this is recent.
Oh, it gets real recent. Just you
Like
wait.
he's outside he's driving that red truck outside?
Yeah.
Is he in the Jackson prison?
No.
Oh, that would have been a cool ending though.
No.
That would have been a fucking cool ending.
Yeah.
Sorry to let you guys down, but he's not.
Damn.
On March 16th, 2015, defense attorney Richard DeGiron, I don't know, advised court authorities in New Orleans that his client waived extradition and would voluntarily return to California. Later that same day, Louisiana State Police filed charges against Robert for being a felon in possession of a firearm and for possession of a firearm with a controlled substance.
How
There
was he
you
not
go.
got this before?
He's the same lawyer, too, that got caught, or got him off, though, right?
Yeah, this is the same lawyer he's had.
So that's, I mean, he's a dick.
Jordan's reading my notes.
Clearly.
No, I'm not.
He has the same lawyer throughout the whole thing, and his lawyer now starts to become a dick. Like, he just keeps pushing everything and postponing everything, saying he needs more time, saying it's because of this. Like, so basically from 2015 up until now, it's still pushed.
He's goddamn Houdini.
This guy's on death row yet?
No, because his lawyer keeps pushing it.
But the
So-
courts are allowing it too.
Yeah,
like-
I know.
If you're smart, you can get it.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's gonna run out of money. He's been paying for lawyers for so
Mhm.
fucking long,
I know.
and his own bail.
So on March 23rd, Robert was denied bail by a Louisiana judge, and prosecutor argued he was a flight risk. His attorney, Richard, tried to hasten his extradition to California and avoid a protracted Louisiana court battle. So he raised question about the validity of the New Orleans arrest and hotel room search, saying that a local judge did not issue a warrant until hours after Robert was detained. So basically, Louisiana's trying to get him on these weapon charges, and just a bunch of shit goes on, and they try to postpone it a bunch. And finally, on April 23rd of 2015, Louisiana authorities dropped weapon charges against Robert after negotiation with his defense team.
Killer lawyer.
Dude, seriously. Like, it's insane how good this lawyer is, though.
Like, talk about getting away with murder as a pun.
Don't get me wrong. I want Robert to get shot in the face as well and lose his head. But, like, his lawyer, badass dude.
Yeah.
I like
Talk about getting away with murder, but...
But
Get away with
that's what we're saying.
So what happens... I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
but,
right.
like, so what happens is in this kind of situations is people that keep pushing it over and over for years and years, the other team starts running out of money.
yeah.
And so they're like, oh, okay, we'll just go ahead and sit with middle of the road or closer to your side.
Right, we'll take these charges off and get like this is what we want. Yeah.
Like almost like a plea bargain type of thing.
Yeah, that's what happened. But he still has a trial on federal weapon charges that's scheduled. So, yeah.
Crazy.
So then his attorney tries to push that, saying he needs more time. He changed his plea to guilty to the federal gun charge and received an 85-month prison sentence. But at this point, Robert was becoming poor in health. He suffered from some buildup.
Everybody tried to do the math in their head.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Months, and I'm like, how many? What?
So he starts deteriorating at this point. He's got some issues with his brain. He's got a stent put in his skull. He had spinal surgery. He has a cancerous mass removed. He's just not doing good. So,
Wait, is all this true or is this just him?
no, this is true.
Oh, shit.
Right. So he still had to go to California to stand trial. And in a hearing, a close friend of Robert said that Robert confessed to him of having murdered Susan. So they had to reschedule a bunch of times. There was just always something. He needed more time, or Robert needed to have surgery, and then Hurricane Harvey hit. So there was just keep rescheduling.
I mean, how does he not run out of money? Like, this lawyer has got to be
He was
expensive.
worth, what, $100 million?
I don't remember.
Or what was something like that. He was worth a lot, and his family owned this
$3
real
billion.
estate company.
What was it?
He was receiving $2 million for those like bunch of years he had that campaign open. You know what I mean? Like, so he's got some out,
Didn't he
but
get like $65 million for something too?
no, he had to settle for that. I thought. I don't know.
Settle for
Settle.
$65 million? Are you fucking kidding me?
No, I mean, I thought he had to pay that.
I got $3, bro.
I think he might have had to pay it.
Oh, okay.
So
my
finally, in October of 2018, LA judge ruled that there was enough evidence to try Robert for the murder of Susan, and he would be arraigned on November 8th, 2018. He pled not guilty and set his trial date for September 3rd, 2019, and evidence involving Morris's murder and Kathleen's disappearance would be allowed.
Good.
So basically, his defense team were trying to create an elaborate conspiracy theory between the filmmakers, law enforcement, and the LA district attorneys, saying that they wanted to make the defendant incriminate himself and in time of his arrest to maximize media attention to boost the ratings of that HBO documentary.
Oh my God.
So again, trial was postponed a bunch more times, and on December 24th, 2019, Robert's lawyers admitted that Durst wrote that previous cadaver note, but said that he was aware that there was a body in the house, but it didn't prove that he killed Susan. It just proved that he knew.
How would he
that
know
a
there
body
was a
was-
body in the
right.
house?
Right.
Unless he did it.
Right. That's just what they're trying to.
And if he just happened to come across a dead body, why didn't he call the police? Why would you write this?
It doesn't make any sense.
No.
I had a feeling though that that documentary was gonna have something to do with like the way he's portrayed in it or something. Like that it's gonna falsify some people that are not gonna be allowed in the trial and all that shit. But
Well, he does a bunch of interviews in it, so I think we should watch it.
Have you seen it, Jordan?
no, I've not seen it. I don't know about this guy at all, but I'd be down to watch it and talk about it again for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
For a couple minutes.
Oh, okay. Are you saying you'll be on another episode?
For a couple minutes.
So
I
if
think
you
I
guys,
have to.
Recap?
Like, I'm a recurring guest, I guess, at this point.
Yeah, both
right?
of you guys are now. This is technically Emmert's second episode.
so what I was about to say is like, if you guys seen the documentary,
Have
let
you?
it. I have not. Or where we can find the documentary? Is
It's
it
on
on
HBO.
Netflix? It's on HBO.
Yes.
Do you guys got HBO Plus?
I can work something out.
All right. All right.
So we'll go to Amelia Jordan to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yes.
We'll have a
indeed.
day where we can watch it.
If anyone out there has watched this documentary, let us know what you think. And if you have any things we've missed, I guess too, it might be in there.
Yeah.
Let us know on that too.
Let us know if you've seen it, if it's worth watching.
Yeah.
I mean, I still want to watch it because there's there's real interviews of him, so I want to see, because at this point he's not convicted of anything. After this comes out, he gets convicted, so I want to see like what he tries to,
So-
and I want to see that last interview where he's saying all this crazy
Yeah.
shit to himself. So
I just want to see how he like carries himself and how he speaks
Right.
and stuff in interviews.
yeah, because
too,
it's
like-
different reading and not seeing it.
Right. Yeah.
Where did I? Oh, okay. So they ended up hiring a private investigator who discovered that he had all these different aliases in Texas, Florida, Massachusetts, New Jersey, South Carolina, Mississippi, and Virginia. He would use these aliases to buy cars, rent apartments, open credit card accounts. He had a scanner, copier, and laminating machine, so I think he was just like making his own. He was a prolific user of private mailboxes. He conducted businesses under a number of canine-themed names. Okay. Trigger warning. This is going to get about dogs and death. So if you don't like this, just skip. I'm gonna talk about it briefly,
Major-
so it's
Winston
not anything.
just barked like fuck.
Winston and Major, cover your ears. So he opened a bunch of canine-themed names. One of them was Woofing LLC, Woof Woof LLC, and Igor Fayette Inc. So in the 1980s, Robert owned 7 Alaskan Malamutes named Igor, and all died under mysterious circumstances, according to his brother Douglas.
Wait, they were all named the same
I
thing?
don't know. I guess so. They never said like what different names there were, but so I'm not really sure. But Robert claimed he only owned 3, and that one was ran over by a car, one died in surgery after eating an apple core, and the last one just like lived a long life and just got old.
I call
Igor
bullshit.
died by the car?
Igor number 1.
Wait, what happened to the other 4?
He claimed he only had 3. In December 2014, before the airing of the documentary, Douglas said that he believes Robert was practicing killing and disposing of his wife with those dogs. Robert was once recorded saying he wanted to Igor Douglas. So, trial began on March 2nd, 2020, but was postponed due to COVID.
Fuck outta here.
Of course
Shit.
it was.
Jesus Christ.
This guy's gonna get away with all this shit.
He's gonna die.
At this point,
He's
like,
gonna
why
die.
not? Like,
So what's gonna happen is like, oh, this man is too old to be put on trial,
No.
and he'll be put into like a
Is he
care-
getting charged in Texas? Do they still have the death penalty in Texas?
yes,
They might.
do.
they do.
No, I believe he's getting tried in
In
California.
California, yeah.
If he hasn't got corona already in prison, like,
So-
yeah, I can't imagine he's gonna.
So if anything, he's gonna die before.
So he can't even go. They're not gonna send him to jail because he's a high risk candidate.
He's in prison.
He's got to be.
He's
in
gonna be
prison now.
released
No.
because the people in Jackson, they're getting released right now.
He's gonna be the first person that they're gonna give COVID to on purpose.
No,
Because
or he's gonna be released because he doesn't have COVID. Instead of spreading it more, they're releasing the one, like you said, they're releasing people like prisoners in Jackson who are like almost done with their sentences, or like it was a minor offense kind of thing. Like they're releasing them to stop the spread.
Well, I've looked it up, and
gonna get out.
I've looked it up, and I haven't seen anything that he's gotten released or anything.
And if you guys don't know, there's a huge Jackson prison, where probably within the half an hour where we're from. So
It's like 10 minutes from here.
okay, so there's a prison. How big is this prison? It's like one of the biggest prisons.
Well, okay, no, you're getting confused.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
The biggest walled prison in the United States was the walled prison in Jackson. It is no longer an active prison.
Okay.
The big brick wall down by
down
St. John. That's no longer a prison. Jackson has a prison, but it's no longer the biggest. We had the largest walled prison.
Yeah, but I don't think I've looked it up and I didn't see that he's gotten released yet. But I didn't do like a huge deep dive. But
How much is his bail?
I didn't say. So after Susan's murder, police were looking at connections with other disappearance of 2 18-year-old girls and 1 16-year-old girl.
Jesus Christ.
I guess one of them visited his food store, that health food store he owned. The same day she disappeared, another girl volunteered in a homeless shelter he often visited, whose this girl aunt owned. But the FBI couldn't connect Robert to these disappearances, though, so nothing was ever come of that.
Ever
Yeah.
tied to him.
As of May 2017, Deborah was living with Robert's real estate lawyer, Stephen Holm, but he died on October 17, 2019, and an article states that Deborah was his wife. I did talk about Deborah, but you guys must not have been paying attention. It was real quick.
Yeah.
But it's not publicly known that Deborah divorced Robert or even when she married Stephen.
It is now.
In 2002, Robert signed over power of attorney to Deborah, and it's believed that their holding remains closely intermingled but could have been changed because she was no longer married to Robert. In 2006, Robert gave Deborah around $20 million of his $65 million trust settlement.
Oh my God.
So they never found Susan's body. Remains.
No. Susan
Kathleen.
was the one who was
Shot.
execution style. They found her. They've never found Kathleen's.
Okay.
Kathleen's the one that got on the
yes,
train,
yes.
so he
They never-
says.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't 3 murders yet.
Yeah, so,
Technically only 2, but Kathleen was never found.
well, Morris.
Morris.
Oh shit!
Mhm.
Yes. So yes, 3.
Yeah.
Now we're up to like 6 with the 16 and 2 18-year-old girls.
No, he
but those
didn't.
couldn't be tied.
Yeah, he couldn't be tied. That was
So
just
really,
like a
it's only
possible
3
thing.
murders.
We know.
A possible 4th.
We know.
Jordan knows.
Yeah.
Jordan knows.
He's done the research. He knows. He's not gonna be able to sleep tonight.
I've read.
I'm
8
not gonna be able to sleep tonight. I'm sketched out.
Kathleen's mother, Anne, attempted to sue Robert for $100 million, claiming that he killed Kathleen and deprived them of the right to bury their daughter. Her parents are now deceased, and her younger sister, Mary Hughes, believed that Robert did murder her. In October of 2005, a wrongful death lawsuit filed by Kathleen's brother, James, or another article said her older sister, I'm not really sure, they filed that against Robert, which accused him of murdering his wife. It was dismissed on the grounds that she had waited too long to file the suit and they had no concrete evidence. They filed another lawsuit in December of 2015 asking the court to freeze Robert's asset. In July of 2016, Kathleen's family asked the Manhattan court to declare that Kathleen died on January 31st, 1982, when she was murdered by her husband Robert, so that the lawsuit can proceed, and that was granted in 2017. Robert inspired the 2010 film All Good Things, which is the name of the health food store that Robert and his wife owned in the 70s, and Ryan Gosling plays Robert.
We should watch it.
There's a lot. There's 3 episodes on Law & Order, a sketch on Saturday Night Live, there's an episode on Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, and there's more on A&E, Lifetime, and Investigation Discovery.
I used to watch Unbreakable.
Where have we been for this entire?
Yes, because I've never heard anything about this.
I don't know anything about him.
Exactly like him.
Well, we'll review that too. Coming
Yeah, we'll watch
soon
them
to
both.
ears near you.
Yeah. Your own ears?
Well, yeah, your own ears if you want. If you want to keep those.
But yeah, that is the story of Robert Durst. So now let's discuss.
I think he killed all of them.
Fuck yes,
Yeah,
he killed everybody.
For sure.
For sure.
I just what was his name? The Richard,
Robert?
His
the lawyer.
attorney?
Oh.
Yeah, the lawyer. Shout out that asshole. He's a dick for keeping this guy alive for this long, but he's pretty damn good.
He's making hella money off of that.
Yeah, but he's the asshole lawyer.
Because he
But
knows,
Robert did everything. Yeah,
he knows he's
without a
going to
doubt.
lose the case once it goes to court. So he's postponing it and just taking that money from Robert.
It's I don't even have a doubt in my mind that he didn't do any of them.
I think he definitely killed all 3 of them. Now, those teenagers, I don't really think so, but he's just I think he's going to get off again because he's getting old. He's already got all these issues. He's got these mental issues too. Like, he's not going to serve the time that he should because he's already 77 at this point. He's not going to serve the time he should for all of these killings. He's probably going to go to prison, maybe if that ever even happens, for a couple of years, and he's going to die there. And that's not fair.
No.
He's currently in jail, right? Obviously now.
Well,
so how
awaiting
much
trial.
time has he served since?
Yeah,
I don't
if
even
he
know.
were to be sentenced, like,
It's
say
probably like, I'm not saying you would know it, but I'm saying it's probably like 30 years. I would imagine 19, 20. I don't know, but like.
But he hasn't served that long because then he bails himself out, and then all these charges are dropped. So I don't think altogether he has served a ton of time.
But since the last time he went to jail,
Yeah.
he's probably served at least 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
when he is convicted, it'll probably be 10 years, and they're gonna say, oh, we'll take what you've already served, and he's only gonna serve a couple, and then he'll be out again.
He's gonna die. He's gonna die in jail.
For sure, I think so too. He's already got all these issues.
There's no more postponing it at this point. Once you postpone it, if you keep postponing it, it's not gonna bail him out. Like, the only way they're gonna bail him out is like,
Go through the court process and hope you get convicted.
yeah,
Innocent.
he's gonna die in jail. Yeah, but that brings me to a question though. Did he end up having any kids with any of these?
No, she asked us no.
Okay.
So what do you think happened, Amrit, really?
I literally think that he has like this mental disorder that he can't control what he's doing,
Yeah.
and he gets into these spasms, or like, when you get into this moment when you just are just
You almost
overheat,
start thinking.
and then you just go, like, say if somebody punches you in the face, right? So if somebody punches you in the face, it's instant to like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and punch this person back, or da da da.
But he knew what he was doing when he dismembered that body. He knew exactly what knife to use on what bone and on what muscle. Like, at some
that's what I
point,
was
he had to
asking.
snap in and know what the fuck he was doing, and he knew how to do it.
That's why I was asking what he went to school for, because it cannot happen overnight. And like, if he cut up his
Right.
fucking
It
dogs,
can happen overnight,
But
man. The
regardless
internet,
of, like,
dude.
what you were saying, like, in the heat of the moment, like,
like,
maybe he shot him in the heat of the moment. Like, maybe things did escalate and he did shoot him. But then he's out of that high where you're not thinking when he starts dismembering. It doesn't last that long.
That's what I'm
to
saying,
where
yeah.
You dismember, bag it up, throw it in the river. Like, at
Yeah,
that
I mean,
point,
he
you're off that
he
high.
shot him in the face and then cut off his head
Yeah,
to get
that-
rid of it.
And what did
You're
he do
like,
with that?
yes.
It's lightning like a motherfucker.
so your other personality could take over anytime. So as soon as you shot that person in the head, that
Good switch.
they switch over, the gun smoke, boom. You don't know anything. Soon as
Yeah,
your
but
body smells that gun
your
smoke,
body still did it. Doesn't
revert-
matter. The way the world works is you're going to jail forever. Your body did it. You did it. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
which personality you want to have. You fucking did it. Your DNA, your shit, all of it.
Yeah,
So he's got to rot in prison forever.
but
Oh,
if
yeah,
he
for
has
sure.
if he has split personality or personality disorder, whatever it's called, I apologize. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but whatever it's
Right.
called,
Right.
yeah, whatever is technically labeled, if he had that, he doesn't have no control over it, and he doesn't have no memory of it. So I don't feel like he should be held accountable for it.
Well, what I was going to say earlier is that I bet you that I bet you they will try to claim,
Insanity.
yes.
And
he'll get
go
off.
instead of going to prison, he'll go to a mental institute
And he'll get off.
until he dies.
Yep.
Because at that point, he ain't leaving.
I honestly don't care at this point. I just don't think he should be allowed back out.
I want to know
Oh,
where
no.
Kathleen's body is.
Right.
And where Morris's fucking head
I'm
is.
interested. I like this story because I'm interested to see how,
It plays out.
like, yeah, well, how it plays out and how you mentioned the interviews and stuff. I do want to see his demeanor on it,
Yes.
just to see, like, because I mean, we're all just going off of our imagination at this point, whether or not he's really has split personalities or not.
Rude.
Like, yeah,
We're
like,
going to watch this and he's
Yeah.
going to be like normal as shit.
Yeah,
and
that's
we're
what I
like,
mean. I
my
don't
God.
Oh, shit. Maybe we're wrong.
Yeah.
He's crazy though. I thought it was a good story.
I want to see. Yeah.
I really did
Yeah.
think this was a good story.
But that was a great story. We'll have to definitely keep up on it.
Yeah,
and
we'll
keep
keep
the
up.
listeners updated as we learn more.
Yep, we'll keep up for sure.
If it ever happens, let's be real.
He's probably going to get off, but we'll let you know for sure. But thank you, Jordan and Amrit, for being our guests. Yes, yet again.
Yes.
We now can come on whenever we want, right?
You could have anyways.
Yeah.
So I had
I
a
just
theory.
feel more important now.
I had a theory that if we get a third guy guest, we'll just take over the podcast, and it'll be a guy podcast instead of a girl podcast.
You don't know how to do it all.
All right.
We just talk and hit play.
All right, well, let's cheers to that, guys.
Kathleen and
Susan and Morris and anyone else he's hurt. Yes, all the Igors.
Remember, Robert's innocent.
That's all, folks.